this is all about? Or would you rather save it for the council?
Oh, no. You are the one that I wish to speak with. Were you not cast out of your order?
I left voluntarily.
Yes, but you were motivated to leave by the hypocrisy of the Jedi Council. We were both tools for greater powers.
I am here to bring you to justice.
Justice is merely the construct of the current power base. A base which, according to my calculations, is about to change.
And Darth Sidious is behind it?
He is behind everything. In the shadows, always, but soon, very soon, he will reveal himself.
With your help, the Jedi can stop Sidious before it's too late.
Too late? For what? The Republic to fall? It already has, and you just can't see it. There is no justice, no law, no order, except for the one that will replace it. The time of the Jedi has passed. They cannot defeat Sidious. But together, you and I can. Every choice you have made has led you to this moment.
I gotta turn this off.
I will help you. But you must answer one question.
You have but to ask.
What do you want with Anakin Skywalker?
He is the key to everything.
To bring balance to the Force?
To destroy. He has long been groomed for his role as my master's new apprentice.
You lie.
I'm afraid not. In fact, I was so certain of his fate that I orchestrated this war to lure him here with Kenobi, to kill him, thus depriving Sidious of his prized pupil.
I know Anakin. Your vision is flawed.
I see the Padawan needs one last lesson.
You're lucky Anakin didn't show up. The way you're fighting, you wouldn't have lasted long.
Oh, Kenobi's arrogance.
You'll find I have many qualities for you to dislike.
Our forces are falling. We need your support.
No, I think not. Any moment my ship will be arriving. Die well, Mandalorian.
No, wait!
Whoa.
Obi-Wan was right. You are difficult to kill.
We could have destroyed Sidious.
Only for you to take his place.
Lord Maul, we must depart immediately. Come on, get the gunships.
I give you one last chance. Join me. Or die.
Never.
Let me go. Let me die. We're all going to burn. We're all going to die. You don't know what you're doing.
We'll take it from here, Commander.
The Phantom Apprentice Part 2 of the Siege of Mandalore is just, as expected, one of the greatest new pieces of the entire Star Wars saga. There's so much in this episode to process and just unpack as the Siege of Mandalore itself comes to a close and the connections to Revenge of the Sith come full circle, whether that's Obi-Wan's conversation with Ahsoka after being assigned to Utapau, now in canon speaking to Ahsoka during Revenge of the Sith one last time before Order 66 comes down, the anxiety Maul has as he realizes Darth Sidious is about to implement Order 66 and change the galaxy forever, doesn't know the specifics, but knows it's about to happen and they meant it. Maul's not thinking straight. He's scared. He He knows that there's going to be an opportunity to thrive and prosper, and he says as much. He's had visions of Anakin. He knows somehow that Palpatine has been coaxing Anakin to become his new apprentice. The death of Count Dooku is made known to the characters. The grand design coming full circle. Maul realizing it, trying to tell Ahsoka. And Ahsoka listening and understanding in the throne room. Jesse managing to survive the whole episode. But she doesn't listen once he tells her that Anakin will become Palpatine, Sidious's new apprentice. There's so much to process. And that's not even getting to the actual fight. The fight between Ahsoka and Maul, it is the most visually stunning piece of the whole series. I cannot even begin to tell you how incredible this was. Almec finally dying. The final fights between Saxon and Bo. The Phantom Apprentice. It was everything. Guys, I think I need more time to process this. I don't know if I'm going to record a second clip here. But that was just phenomenal. It's now almost 4 o'clock in the morning. I think, it really feels like a dream. It really does. I'm not kidding. That final step, the final half of this episode. Ahsoka and Maul and their duel. The conversation they have, the banter they have, the gorgeous animation, and then when they're up in the beams of a major structure on Mandalore, it's glorious. The whole episode is glorious. I need more time to process this, so I guess I will see you guys momentarily for the third episode where Order 66 comes down. But guys, the Clone Wars is coming to a close, and I cannot process any of this. It's too much. It's too amazing. It is Star Wars at its best, and a dream come true for my 9-year-old self. And as the series, my favorite series of all time, seeing it reach its full potential, it's so special. All of this is so special. The Siege of Mandalore. It's a gift. This is just, I don't take any of this for granted. 2 more episodes of the Clone Wars, guys. It's barely like a series. It's just like it's like watching an animated film. I'll see you guys soon. You know what? No, I have more to say. There's so much in this episode. I cannot not talk about it tonight.
That's right.
I'm here now with Corey. I call him Quarry from Kessel Run Transmissions. Dude, there's so much in here.
Yeah.
First of all, Obi-Wan calling Ahsoka during Revenge of the Sith after being assigned to Utapau. I didn't realize it at first that, I had to remind myself as soon as Obi-Wan confirmed to Ahsoka that Count Dooku had been killed by Anakin. I was like, oh, we're in Revenge of the Sith. Of course, I knew that, but it entered the back of my mind when I started the episode, so I just wasn't thinking about it, and then it hit me that I am watching Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith, my favorite film of all time, and now, after seeing the scene where he's confirmed to go to Utapau, he ducks into a room and talks to Ahsoka and confirms to Ahsoka that Anakin has been ordered to spy on the Chancellor and report on all of his dealings, the whole package. This episode is the whole package. And Corey, when Sam Witwer said that Maul has an anxiety to him that we have never seen before, he was not kidding.
No, he's having a breakdown. You can tell. I mean,
and it's so perfect.
Scene where he gets, where Ahsoka saves him, and he's like, "Let me die." Like, what?
It's so perfect, man, because, like I was just telling you a second ago, Maul now realizes his role in this game, especially after hearing that Dooku is gone now too. And after listening to the Plagueis novel, which I know is Legends, but it is so perfectly still canon to me, Maul was always just the weapon, and he realizes that his whole life, all of them, him, Dooku, Grievous, just all chess pieces in the game that Palpatine has been playing in his grand design.
Right.
For decades of plotting and scheming and manipulating the galaxy to catch the Jedi unaware, and as Maul starts to put it all together, realizes the brilliance and the genius of the clones and understands that there's no stopping this, that this is happening now, because Maul has had a vision. And I want Dave Filoni to talk more about this vision, because Maul was just, he had all the spoilers. I mean, he knew that Anakin was being coaxed into becoming the next apprentice in line for Darth Sidious. Yeah. He confirms to Ahsoka the name Darth Sidious, lays everything out for her. And it's just, the conversation they have is wild. The animation is just so completely stunning. The duel is just better looking than pretty much any lightsaber duel in the whole saga.
Oh, dude, it's phenomenal. It is. I'll say this about the duel, if I'm going to be completely honest.
You wanted Duel of the Fates.
I did.
And so did I. But that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's such a nitpick, it's not even a big deal. But, dude, I have to say that the depth to Maul's character is insane.
Oh, it's come full circle. And that's just, it's so crazy, because it's just not something that I considered, that Maul would just be freaked out. I just kind of figured that he slipped away, got away, linked back up with his syndicate, got to work on making the most of the situation. It didn't really occur to me that he would be like this, that after really realizing Palpatine's plan and finally understanding the grand design that he kept from him, that he would just be sort of hopeless and just sort of like you and me, and just try to get Ahsoka to go with him to stop Sidious, just to make one last effort with someone who might be able to contend with Sidious. I don't know what Maul's plan would have been, because the two of them together still would not have been enough. There's so many questions, so much that I want to know about this, but just finally seeing the story tie in to Revenge of the Sith and just visually looking like the dark times have begun. Mandalore, yeah.
Does this mean that Maul wanted to team up with Obi-Wan? And that's why he wanted him there?
I don't know.
That makes the most sense.
There are so many questions here. And like you just said, I think Maul was finally ready to maybe set aside all of his differences because there's a greater enemy.
Right.
And Obi-Wan was never really the true enemy. And even though, over a decade later, he makes one last-ditch effort to take out Obi-Wan, and that winds up being his demise. Earlier in his life here, he was willing, there's a moment at the end of the war where he's willing to set it aside. And it's just so phenomenal. And to me, this is just the Clone Wars reaching its full potential. Not just in terms of storytelling, but of course in the animation. It is, I cannot describe to you how absolutely you can keep saying stunning, but you don't really get a grasp on it until you see it.
No, you have to. You can't. Yeah, you have to watch it. It's not something you. It's like
it's the Clone Wars animation taken to its fullest. It's like watching a dream, and I don't say any of this in any exaggeration, because this is our favorite series of all time that we are now seeing reaching its full potential. And in 2013, these were only things that we could dream of, that we could daydream about, that wasn't even possible to exist. And so it truly is like watching a dream. And Dryden Voss was in there. I'll be honest with you, I forgot his name, and that's how meaningless he was to me. But listen, he was Paul Bettany. But that was great. That was a great connection. It was all great. Jesse somehow managed to survive this episode. I don't think he'll survive. I don't think.
Why? Because they're going to make us cry next week when Rex has to kill him. That's why.
It's going to be something awful. It's going to be rough. It's going to be really rough. Man, the fight with Bo-Katan and Gar Saxon, the death of Almec just before.
Yo, Almec bit it!
He finally did, and I guess he's not a prisoner of war by the end of the Clone Wars.
I laughed so hard when I saw Almec back in the jail, because I'm like, dude,
yeah.
That's how I remember you.
Yeah.
Right in that jail.
I just cannot believe how brilliant all of this is. Everyone at Lucas, I cannot imagine the sense of pride they all must have had finishing these episodes.
Yeah.
Because this is just everything that they worked so hard for over all those years, inspiring us with some of the greatest Star Wars material we could have ever hoped to grow up with.
Oh no, dude, this is
coming full circle.
We are the luckiest generation, Ross, 100%. I have to say, I think if Rebels wasn't a thing, Maul would totally be dead in this arc.
I agree.
100. Yeah, I would say Order 66 would take him out, because the irony in that would be like, wow.
And now, Ahsoka ultimately defeated Maul.
Yeah.
But what I liked about it is it was not in lightsaber combat, because in lightsaber combat, I still think Maul absolutely would have ultimately defeated Ahsoka. She was already struggling heavily to stop him.
Yeah.
And then she only one-ups him because she outsmarts him very quickly when they're in a very precarious situation. And again, Maul is filled with this anxiety. He's not 100% because of all of this.
He's like crawling up walls and shit.
Like, he knows it's about to happen. He knows Ahsoka is here by Palpatine's design. I mean, he knows that it's about, it can happen at any moment. He doesn't know when, but it's about to happen. And he's he's not ready. And he's scared.
Tim Whitwer was tweeting out about next week's episode, saying, like, things happen. Like, what? Dude, I almost feel like this is what he was talking about, but it's not. Like, there's going to be more added to Revenge of the Sith.
Man.
To the king. I mean.
And when they get to the end and they capture Maul and he's saying, "You're all going to die," and he's just panicking, like they've captured a rabid animal.
He snapped. Yeah,
I mean, he has just lost it.
Yep.
There's no point in trying to do anything to stop it. He knows it's going to happen no matter what, and he's just so... It's just never something that I expected. And it just works so perfectly. And it's... I cannot believe how incredible this is. All of this is.
Do you know how much my heart broke every time I saw Ahsoka fighting Maul and get get the wind kicked out of her? And
Yeah.
like you could see the expression of pain. I'm like, oh my god.
She wasn't having an easy time.
No. And like you said, I'm glad that they reinforced that because we've always said that. There's no way.
Listen, man.
Really.
Ahsoka has trained. She trained for the first 14 years of her life before being thrust into the galaxy's first full-blown war in 1,000 years, and fought that war for them, with them, but Darth Maul was still trained by the Sithari himself, right? The chosen Sith Lord, and the greatest Sith to ever live.
Oh,
so
also,
ultimately, if Maul was 100%, she would not have won that fight. But he wasn't.
We have to give hats off to Ray Park.
Oh yeah, I would love to see some behind the scenes of Ray doing all of these moves, because even if they didn't use the direct performance capture or motion capture to key onto Maul in the animation, it's still him. They used that. You can tell it's Ray Park. Yeah. I mean, you watch. I'm looking at the scene right now, and oh my god, Corey.
By the way, Ahsoka was also a performance capture.
Really?
Yeah, it's in the credits. The performance capture was from a lady named Lauren Mary Kim.
Well, hats off to her for an incredible job.
Yeah.
My God.
So I think the opening narration has concluded. Man.
Yeah, we got our last of Tom Kane's narrations last week. Man.
So Ross, this leaves us with a couple of things.
A lot of things.
Yeah. Next week we're clearly going to get the scene with Mace Windu.
Oh yeah.
And Yoda and the Revenge of the Sith connections. We're clearly going to get Order 60. Dude, I'm not ready.
I'm not ready for any of this.
It's dawning on me that we have one more week until 3 days of Clone Wars, where we get episode 3, and 2 days later the series finale.
I'm just so
that is next weekend.
My God. All right, guys. Well, next week is Shattered, the Order 66 episode. Maul, Ahsoka, and Rex are going to be stuck on a Venator when it goes down. Jesse is probably going to have a heartbreaking death, and we are going to see the most tragic episode that we all knew was coming with the Siege of Mandalore. So I will see you momentarily. And Corey.
Yes.
I don't think we're sleeping tonight yet again.
Yeah, no, we're not. We're going to watch this episode like 3 more times.
Yeah.
Yeah, no sleep. Nope. Sleeps for the week.
See you guys in a second.